The social media budget is a really important tool and should be increased every year. And so, if you have a full time social media manager managing that budget, and as it grows every year, and as digital gets more and more important and print is less and less, the social media budget and having somebody manage that and knowing what they're doing is really important to give them the tools.
Okay, welcome again, everybody, to another episode of the Destination Marketing Podcast. I'm your host, Adam Stoker. Welcome back. Good to have you. Got a great show scheduled for you today, and excited to chat a little bit with our guest that we have on, and we'll introduce her in just a moment. But before we dive in, I want to let everybody know we've created an email address, and this isn't like super groundbreaking stuff here, right? Like, we've created an email address so that you guys can email the show directly and, ask any questions that you have, make topic suggestions. If you know someone that you think would be a great guest on the show, it's maybe a little bit more of a private forum than commenting in the Destination Marketers LinkedIn or Facebook groups. And so I think that might be an easier, less invasive way for you guys to maybe interact and communicate with us here at the show and help us make it better and better. But that email address is destinationmarketingpodcast@relicagency.com. I'll say it one more time, destinationmarketingpodcast@relicagency.com. And we'd love to have you guys reach out. Hey, you know what? If you don't like the sound of my voice, maybe send that to us on the email address. I don't know. It would be kind of a scary podcast for you to listen to if that was the case, but who knows? Maybe you've got any kind of feedback. We welcome any kind of feedback that you might have. But like I said, we've got a great guest for you today. Her name is Stephanie Weeks, and I met Stephanie down at the Texas Travel Summit. Stephanie is from Plano, Texas. And Stephanie, welcome to the show.
Oh, hi, Adam. Thank you so much. I'm so excited.
I'm excited to have you. And I told you guys a little while back that I found our one listener, and I did it. It's Stephanie Weeks. We found her when we were down at the Texas Travel Summit. Stephanie, thanks for being a listener of the show.
Oh, thanks for having such a great show. I mean, I just loved hearing all about all the different things going on in destination marketing. So it's a great podcast.
Awesome. Well, good feedback. We should have had you send it to the new email address, right?
Exactly.
Hey, I'm excited to chat with you a little bit about your destination and dive in. But as you know, we have a couple of questions we like to ask everybody to get started just to break the ice. So first and foremost, tell me your dream travel destination. If you could go anywhere in the world, where would it be?
I thought about this, and my coworker just came back from Greece, and she showed me the photos, and I was just in awe of what an amazing place that is, and the people there are so nice, and the Mediterranean food and the landscape, and I was just blown away because my first destination has been Spain. I've been trying to put that on my bucket list, but Greece just looks amazing, and she had an amazing time.
Okay, is that one where you'd hit both then? You'd hit Spain and Greece and kind of split time, or does Greece require its own trip after the photos that you saw?
Oh, wow, you're blowing my mind. I would love to do both. That would be incredible. That would be incredible.
Great. Well, what was it? I'd love to hear a little bit more. Like as you looked at her photos, what were the places that stood out? Is it more of the beachy side of Greece, or was it the historical side? What is it that really stood out to you?
She showed both, and she just had this gorgeous photo where she's like floating in the ocean, and you can see the cliffs behind her, and then and she did do some funny photos where she had she's a real cat person, and so she saw cats everywhere in Greece, which was kind of crazy, but she had a photo in by the ocean with a cat and by the architecture with a cat, and it's just so fun. But I really love Mediterranean food, and so I'd really love to taste it very authentically. So
okay.
I'm a foodie, so I would love that.
And did you just out yourself as a cat lady? Did that just happen here on the show, or no?
I'm not a cat lady, and that's why it's so interesting, because I'm a dog person, and we actually did a Plano pup promotion where we're a pet-friendly destination, and I was way into it. I had pup everything, like dog this, dog that, photos, bandanas made, dog bowls. Like I went crazy with it, but people love
So
dogs.
definitely a dog person. Okay, that's good to
Definitely.
know. Something I didn't know I'd find out on the show today, but I'm glad I did.
Yes.
Okay, so you mentioned Spain as well, that's been on your bucket list throughout your life. Tell me what about Spain is really appealing to you.
Um, the culture. I love, the a culture of eating all the time, being with family all the time. I really think that they have very a laid back vibe. I feel like the U.S. is kind of needs to relax a little bit, and I think Spain just has such a wonderful culture, and it's just so beautiful there that, yeah, it's just really. It's been on my list for a while, so I will make it happen. And just for you, I'll do Greece and Spain at the same time.
Okay, you got to do that, and then you got to come back and talk about your trip. If you
Yes,
do
there you
that
go.
trip, you got to share with everybody what it was like.
Absolutely.
Well, great. Thanks for sharing some of that with us. I guess we still need to figure out what your favorite place is that you've actually been. Where have you been that you just loved?
Well, I just came back from Belize and we did an excursion and we did cave tubing, which was really cool. I don't know if you've
Whoa,
ever done that, where you sit
no.
in an inner tube and you go through a really dark cave and you have a headlamp on for light and there's bats that are hiding in the little crevices, and then you shine your little flashlight and see what the earth has created. And it's just amazing.
This is in
God,
Belize?
yeah, in Belize. Well, a funny story is that we do this excursion. We hop on this van that's, I'm not sure, can take long term travel. And we're packed in like sardines in it. And with my family and a whole bunch of other people, when we're going to the destination, we're like, surely it's coming up that we're going to get to the cave tubing soon. Well, an hour and a half later, we get to the where we're supposed to be. We get out, we do all the tubing and everything, and my son checks in on his phone to see like where we are, and it said Guatemala, and I was like,
Oh no.
"Whoa! I didn't sign up for Guatemala." I mean, like, Belize. So it was kind of like I think we were on the border of
Uh,
Guatemala and Belize, so it was kind of crazy. They didn't really tell us that part, but that's what you get when you sign up for an excursion. You don't really know where you're going, but it was really beautiful, and the Mayan ruins are there, so that's a really neat culture in itself. So it was an amazing trip, um, but I just loved it.
I want to hear more about the cave tubing. It sounds like there could possibly be some scary moments there. Was it were you nervous at any point that there might be like this underwater waterfall? I don't know, or underground waterfall, or like
Yeah,
did the
and
bats get too close? you know?
um, there was an underground waterfall, but we actually had a tour guide, and so he
Okay.
was telling us everything, and he was actually pulling our tubes to kind of make it go a little bit faster rather than just kind of float, um,
Okay.
slowly. He kind of like pulled us through, which was amazing because he must be really strong because we had, 8 people all tied up and he's pulling us. But he was a great tour guide, which sounds like an interesting job.
Yeah, no kidding. It's funny. I realized that as I was talking about my travel experience and experience in the industry, what I was completely leaving off was my time as a tour guide in Alaska in 2005. I was a tour bus driver up there, and it is a fun job. The untold story of it is that when people ask you questions and you don't know the answer, sometimes the answer is made up. And so I don't know if you got any unique historical facts there that sounded like they might not be true, but I did have to repent a little bit for telling some people that the flower that we saw on the side of the road was the Alaskan blue wildflower, and I actually had no idea what what flower it was.
That's
But
funny.
you live and
That's
you
definitely
learn.
winging it. That's definitely winging it.
Yeah, exactly. No, but being a tour guide in cave tubing, that's a pretty unique job. I mean, there are so many cool travel jobs out there. That's a really good one. Awesome. Well, tell me a little bit about your background, what you do in Plano, and kind of what led you to your role today and got you into the tourism industry.
Okay, great. So I work for Visit Plano, and I'm the social media manager. And I've had probably a million plus jobs that have led me to this one. But it kind of
That's
started
a
out.
lot.
I know. I started out in marketing and as a marketing manager, and kind of did that for 7 years in different industries. And then I stayed home with my kids for about 3 years. And so I had three kids, and my youngest was like 11 months old. And I was like, what would be a really great idea is to start my own business. And so I did. My youngest was 11 months old, and
Oh my goodness.
I decided I wanted to be an entrepreneur. And with my marketing background, I actually worked in real estate where we staged apartment model homes and vacant apartments to help them sell better. So I thought I could do this to stage homes to help them sell better. And that's kind of when HGTV had kind of like really taken off, and, staging a home was actually a thing. And
Uh-huh.
so I started this business called Redesign Your Decor, and it kind of went gangbusters. I had a website, I was on social media, and more so than other designers or decorators, they were more just doing the work, and I was
Yeah.
actually doing the marketing and the work. So I think that was kind of what kind of led me to where I'm going now, is that, I had a website and I had all the problems of, but I was on the first page of Google because I was one of the only ones. And so that was great. Twitter and Facebook became popular like back in 2009, and I was able to message media to get my designs showcased on the Dallas Morning News and our local paper. And that's really how I used my media contacts, because they were on Twitter and they were on Facebook, and I was messaging them and tagging them, and not harassing, but, developing a relationship online with a lot of these
Yeah.
people to get earned media. And it worked out really well. Well, then I had people saying, "Hey, could you help me do this for my business?" And I was like, "Sure." So I started, consulting for different businesses. And I really found that I'm really good in certain industries, something that's more creative rather than, doing. Um, I'm not really like somebody who can tell you how to do your banking. It's the industries that are more creative and entertainment and tourism and sports, those kind of industries, I was really good at telling a story over social media. So that led to me getting a job at Eagle Golf as the marketing director there. And they had 30 golf clubs, and I helped all of them with social media. And one of them was Cowboys Golf Club, that's owned by the Dallas Cowboys in Grapevine. And
Okay.
so I helped them get on Instagram, and they had all these celebrities coming to play golf there, and, local influencers. And I said, somebody needs to be running out there and taking pictures. Somebody needs to be out there telling the story of Cowboys Golf Club and how beautiful these greens are, and the wedding venue that they have is amazing. And so I was really helping them tell the story of that. And that's what I think you basically are when you're a social media manager. You're a storyteller, basically,
Right.
but just on a social platform. So from there, I worked for Dallas Cowboys for a little while, and that parlayed into a job of following the cheerleaders around, to a veterans hospital to visit patients, or to Academy of Country Music Awards at AT&T Stadium. So lots of really cool opportunities to do live video, and I
It
just
sounds
loved it.
like
I just loved it.
people just kept grabbing you and asking you to do more and more and more because of what they had seen. Is that kind of how it went?
You just go where the work takes you. It's not, I mean, if you had told me that I would be here, I would say you're crazy. But I'm also a Sagittarius, so I like change. I like, exciting adventures. I like spontaneity. So I think that goes with my personality, that I kind of go where the work takes me, and it's taken me here. So, and now I really like being focused on, I have one brand, Plano, Texas. I have, social media is my thing. What I'm owning, what I'm doing, what I'm responsible for, rather than being a marketing manager like I did before, where I wore 100 hats and did lots of different things. I really like being so specialized. I think it's really
Right.
fun.
Right. That's really cool. And I want to dive more into it. First, I've got to know what ended up happening with your interior design business. What did you do with it?
Well, I had this amazing partner. Her name's Leah Young. And so when the business got too crazy, I had added a partner on about like 2009. And then 2012, I said, I'm going to go back to marketing and do this social media thing full time because I love it. I wasn't the best designer out there, I was just the best marketer. So that's why we got all the business. But I really felt like, what I was good at, I wanted to do full time. So yeah,
Got it. So did you guys sell the business? Is she still running it, or?
she took it. She took the business off on her own under a new name.
Okay, so now you're full bore social media, right? You're in your current role at Plano, Texas.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about what you do. I know you're the social media manager, but what do you do there, and how do you kind of find your time shaking out? How do you spend your days at Plano?
Well, I kind of feel like I'm a news producer, storyteller. So every day I'm kind of what's going on in Plano, Texas, the story that needs to be told. For instance, I just found out 2 days ago that there was a new music pavilion that was finished, and at this place called the Boardwalk at Granite Park. And they were going to have live music, and they had changed the date. They're going to do it on Wednesday. So, I drop everything. I go take photos and video for the Boardwalk at Granite Park, the new music pavilion. And it's great. So I have to be very flexible and fluid. But I do have a huge content calendar that I am creating content for all of those pieces. So whether it's the holidays where we have 6 weeks of giveaways, I'm getting the prizes, I'm working with the venues to get pictures on so we can help promote, Lantern Light and Shots of Legacy, Lights at Legacy. I'm constantly getting content for all of our campaigns, for new things that are happening, new restaurants. So basically, it's a very, your ear to the ground kind of position. And I like that because it kind of feels like chess. I'm trying to figure out who's doing what and when can I move my piece, and what are they going to go first, or am I going to go? So I like that part of it, that it's always changing and I'm chasing the algorithm all the time. Once
Yeah.
I've figured it out, it changes again. So it's very exciting. And we have a lot of new and amazing things happening in Plano all the time. So it's never stale. It's always exciting. So I
Yeah,
love
it
it.
sounds like you have to be really nimble, right? Like something comes up, you've got to be willing to jump in your car, grab your camera, and run out there and take video right then, right? If it wasn't on your calendar 3 days ago, that doesn't matter. You're willing to jump in and go get it now, right?
Yeah, and that's not for everybody. I really like the fast pace, the technology part of it. I'm kind of a nerd, so but I love the story aspect of it, of just telling a good story, because sometimes people may think, oh, well, I visited Plano back in 1995, and our story is not the same thing as it was in 1995. So I'm really trying to make sure that they know what Plano is now. We used to be a very corporate destination because we have Frito Lay, and we had EDS as one of our corporate headquarters. We have Toyota that just moved in, Chase Bank. I mean, we have lots of corporations here, and so there was a lot of corporate travel. Well, with that, they brought lots of great restaurants, lots of big, nice hotels. And so with that, there's a lot of leisure travel and a lot of people that are coming to our destination that don't need to go to Dallas because we're just north of Dallas. You can go out and be entertained and have great nightlife in Plano. You don't have to drive far to Dallas to do that. So it's changed the whole landscape, um, which is very exciting.
Yeah, and a great news story to tell through social, right?
Yes, that's where people are finding out what to do, this weekend or 3 months from now. We're helping plan their trips here, making them think, oh, we're a great destination for winter because, sometimes you don't even have to have a jacket in December to do your Christmas shopping.
Well, as someone here in Utah, that sounds very appealing.
Doesn't it? Doesn't it?
Yeah, it sure does. Hey, let me ask you this. So I feel like Plano is very fortunate to be able to have someone like you full time in the social media manager role. Not every destination can have a full time social media manager. In fact, some people have to manage several different media channels and social on top of that, and then some will actually outsource to a third party, an agency or a consultant or a freelancer or whatever, right? So what would your advice be to somebody who has maybe a limited amount of time to spend on social media? What are the essentials? Like, what do you have to make sure that you're covering? And then what should be kept in-house and what could you use an outside vendor for and still make it work?
Well, I think if you're going to do it half time, let's say that you're only going to devote 20 hours a week to it, I really think that, making sure that all of your partners, your hotels, your restaurants, your attractions are all being promoted equally. So whatever that is in the content calendar for you, if it's just 20 hours a week that you're doing, that you make sure that you hit all of those points. Because as somebody who can do it full time, I've developed great relationships with all these people. They know to come to me to promote a new opening or something. But like as far as part-time work, it all depends on the value that you put on social media for your destination. So if it's something that you highly regard and you're putting lots of money towards for social media advertising, then having somebody manage that in-house is really, really important. Things that we would outsource are some of the larger advertising budgets, media placements, some of the graphic capabilities, video. I do a lot of the video that's more live, and then we have an agency that does more long form video. So that would be something that I would outsource. But I do feel with every year that passes by, and I've been with Visit Plano for 4 years, it seems like with every passing year, there seems to be another destination that has a full-time social media manager or somebody that's adding it on to the city for a different department. So I feel like 4 years ago, I was kind of one of the only ones that was the full-time social media manager, but with every year passing, it seems like more and more people are seeing the value in it.
Right. That's really interesting. I think one of the things that you brought up that I want to go back to is you mentioned that you rely a lot on partners and you've built enough of a relationship with them that they will send you the content that you need to promote their event on the destination social media pages. How were you able to develop those relationships with your local stakeholders and partners and actually leverage those so that you're not, because it's almost like you've got a network of people now that can send you content that you can use and you don't have to drive to every single place and do it manually on your own, but you're getting help and support from the community.
Oh, yes, I could not do my job without the partners. And one thing when I started, in order to develop a good relationship, I created something called the Plano Social Media Breakfast Club and invited partners like attractions, hotels, other city departments that we work with, like Parks and Recreation or the city or the library, all of those different departments that have somebody doing social media, together for breakfast, and we have a guest speaker that talks about a topic that would help somebody do social media. And then we have like a 2-minute, hey, what's going on at your venue, kind of shout out, like, hey, can you help me promote this? So it's kind of like what influencers use as pods. They DM each other, hey, I've got a new post, go like it. It's kind of like that, but it's in real life. So we develop these relationships in real life, and then we have them online as well. Because a lot of my communication, honestly, on Facebook Messenger, I'm all over it, and they knew who I am because I'm like, hey, when's your event going to be posted on your website? And I use Facebook Messenger all the time. To me, sometimes it's better than an email because it's whoever is doing social is going to see that message, not just an email address that could go to a marketing director that doesn't do the social. Maybe it's the marketing assistant or somebody else that does.
Yeah, it's the actual person, right?
It's the actual person.
I want you to know that I think your Plano social media breakfast club idea is brilliant. And I think every single destination that is listening to this episode needs to gather the important stakeholders within their destination, the attractions, the national parks or the state parks or, the restaurants or whatever. A monthly meeting where you gather everybody together, you talk about what's going on, maybe some tips and tricks so everybody can learn the relationships that are going to come out of that and the synergy that's going to happen between the different organizations. I think it's brilliant, Stephanie. That's really cool.
Oh, thank you. It's been really, really helpful because I just, who to ask for what content, and we rely on a lot of user generated content. So, and they're one of my users. They're posting about their museum, and I can ask them, hey, can I have the rights to that photo? I know who I'm talking to. But getting together in real life where they can really tell you, hey, this is what's important to our attraction. Yes, we have cookies with Santa, and we have the ice skating but we really need help with lantern light because that's our big function, and that's where we actually fundraise money for the museum. So it's a lot of times you can't get that in an email or a Facebook message. Somebody standing up and talking about that really helps, and we learn tips and tricks from all of us. I think I've learned so much from that group. I think everybody there has really something to offer and has a tip or a trick to share. Nobody's an expert on social media, honestly, because it's ever changing and people are discovering all sorts of different things to share with people, what works on their channels. It's a great way to learn from each other.
Yeah, and without collaboration, it's so hard to stay on top of it because like you said, there's so much going on that no one person can get it all. But as a community, you can, and I love that you guys are doing to that. Let me ask you, so you talked about some of the tools that you use. What are some of your favorite tools that you're using to manage the social media for Plano? It could be it could be something that you're using to gather sentiment analysis, or it could be something that you're using to work with your photos or whatever. Like, what are your can't live without tools for managing social media?
I really love CrowdRiff for gathering photos about our destination. I use that constantly. Everybody has a camera in their pocket. Which is their iPhone or Android or whatever, but everybody's taking beautiful photos, and it's just it's like I have 100 photographers out there capturing Plano on any given day, which is amazing content. I use Canva for graphics, which is a great program. I use all the photo editing apps. Those are amazing to help me do my job. Twitter has been a great resource for finding out what's going on and staying very newsworthy. So I really love listening on Twitter, and there's a lot of tools for that. And then we use Sprout Social for our analytics because with every decision I make, it's what does the data say? You know, what is are people really liking this post? Are they watching the video past 10 seconds? If the analytics are going to tell me what, how, and when we're going to post, what time of day, or how long should our videos be? What should we target as far as advertising opportunities? So Sprout Social is a really good thing. And then it also has competitive analysis. So I also see what my competitors are doing, and where they're getting great engagement.
That's great. That's great. Those are some great tools. I also want to understand, because every social media outlet is different, right? Instagram has a different purpose, and a lot of people don't use it this way, but Instagram and Facebook actually have two completely different uses in a lot of cases and different audiences. Twitter's used differently, Pinterest. So I want to do an exercise here where maybe we'll go rapid fire, and I'll say a social media platform, and I'd love to have you maybe tell me the way it should be used, right? Are you comfortable with that?
Sure, fire away.
Okay, let's do it. And we'll just keep it short with each one. But I think it'll be kind of fun for our users to just get a quick overview of what the best usage is for each one. So we'll start with Facebook.
So Facebook is an amazing resource for friends, like your family and your friends. So something that you would want to share. So the content that I put out there is like, hey, would they share this with their family and friends to show that they're newsworthy, or does it have practical value? So I think that's kind of what Facebook is for sharing with your friends.
Okay, so giving people content they can share with their friends. What about
Yes.
Instagram?
Instagram is very aspirational, so we use it for a lot of our photos, and we use a partnership with influencers on Instagrams, because everything is, oh, doesn't this trip look great? Wouldn't you may not necessarily be friends with the influencer, but you're just following to see if their lifestyle is appealing, the kind of trips you're dreaming about what they do. So I think Instagram is very aspirational, and so we like to partner with influencers on Instagram.
Great, great. What about Twitter? How do you use Twitter?
Twitter is great for small businesses. I can retweet all day long, and the algorithm is not going to hate me because I've retweeted 100 times in one day. The content only lasts for just a few minutes. I think somewhere I read it was like, 20 minutes, and then you'll never see that tweet again unless somebody's searching for it. So you can post a lot of content on Twitter, and I really like that. So that means, our partners that are talking about their third anniversary, they're having a pizza, they're giving away cheese pizzas on October 21st. Come grab your free pizza. That's a great way for me to connect with those small business partners and retweet their content. And it's not going on Facebook where it would die.
Right.
Like the algorithm would hate that, or Instagram. But Twitter, I can kind of all day long, I can help small businesses get out their content. And then it's very newsworthy too.
Great. What about Pinterest?
Pinterest is a great way to partner with bloggers. So bloggers will create a blog post, and then we usually ask them to create a pinnable image. And so from that, a lot of times we'll repost that content on our website, and then we pin it to Pinterest. And then it'll be like top 10 restaurants in Plano, or 5 ways to enjoy the outdoors in Plano. And it's very graphical. It's everything is a listicle kind of headline grabbing caption. So that's really great for when we work with bloggers, like create a pinnable image for us to use.
Perfect. Okay, so now bringing it all together, those are some pretty different uses for each platform.
Yeah, and you
right?
forgot about LinkedIn and YouTube.
I did forget about LinkedIn and YouTube. So talk to me about those, because not everybody is using those effectively within the destination marketing space. So tell me how you're using those as well.
Well, not well. I'll just tell you that.
Okay.
LinkedIn has, gone through, people, oh, that's a way to job search and all that. It has done a lot of revamping, and it is getting super popular right now. And if your salespeople are not on LinkedIn and forming relationships with meeting planners and people that are making those big decisions, that is something that they need to be using. There's even like a sales navigator tool. And I think maybe it's like $100 a month or something like that for LinkedIn. But LinkedIn is really getting those people that are thinking about planning conventions and destinations for economic development. Like LinkedIn has a lot of great content in a very professional environment. And I think more and more LinkedIn just started allowing video. And I've seen a lot of great content with that. So that's something that we're going to focus a lot on in 2020, is LinkedIn, and then also YouTube. YouTube is growing in numbers. It's the number 2 search engine because of course Google owns it. So
Right.
that's a way to find out content about a destination and having great videos. What we've done in the past is we've uploaded a bunch of our videos and then don't do anything with them really, and they don't go anywhere. But the first 24 hours of a video on YouTube is the most important, and that's the time that you have to really go gangbusters on promoting a video on YouTube, because that's when YouTube decides whether it's good content or not. After that, it's not going to show it in the search results. So going all in the first 24 hours on YouTube, and that's like another something that we're going to do in 2020, is be more video focused and putting more things on YouTube with a strategy.
That makes sense. Yeah, going back to LinkedIn, we actually really like LinkedIn, especially for uh, destinations that have convention space and are looking for big conventions or meetings or events to host in their convention space. Those LinkedIn is a great way to reach those people because the targeting on LinkedIn is so specific. You can say, I want event planners and event coordinators within certain industries, and you can run ads to them and generate leads that go straight into your email marketing automation platform. And you can nurture them through until they're ready to book their event or plan their event. So we love LinkedIn on the B2B side, trying to get conventions and events. And it sounds like you're using it for a similar purpose. YouTube, you're absolutely right about the first 24 hours. I mean, it that's when you have the opportunity to have YouTube believe that it's great content. And so both of those, I think, are opportunities that are a little bit underutilized in the destination space in general.
Yes, definitely, exactly. So we're really trying to up our game for LinkedIn and YouTube in 2020.
I like it. I like it. Okay, so there's all these different channels, right? And all of them require a little bit different method or strategy. How do you keep it all together, right? Like there's so much that you have to do, so much to keep track of. How do you maintain a strategy and not just get to the point where you're like, oh man, I haven't posted on Facebook in 3 days. Let me throw this picture up there. How do you get over that hump?
Well, one, that would never happen. I would never not be on Facebook for 3 days. But the sound strategy part of
Nice.
it is like the content calendar, the calendar that I have that drives me every day with every channel. And I'm plugging in on all those holes of what should be done. So those are pretty much, I know kind of what I'm posting every month. It's pretty much filled. I kind of have an idea of what I'm doing, but that takes a lot of time and effort, and either creating the content or getting the content. So that's how I've turned this into a full-time job, because there is so many channels and so much content, so much story to tell, and making sure that we are fair to all of our partners. But yeah, the content calendar is really what drives everything that I do every day. And then the asks that I get, hey, can you promote this or can you do this? I'm weaving it into the calendar, and so it's like I said before, it's very fluid and ever changing. But I pretty much got a set calendar, and I pretty much know what I'm doing week to week for
So,
sure.
so I'm hearing it's critical to have an overarching content calendar and a plan, and then you also have to be prepared to be nimble and jump at something that was unexpected. And then the third thing is really gather from your stakeholders and partners content that will promote their businesses and enhance the visitor experience, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
Great. Well, Stephanie, I say this all the time with almost every guest, but it's like we could do this all day, right? We could talk social media marketing for destinations all day long, but I want to know if there's anything that I haven't asked you that you're like, man, this would really help the listeners to hear this. Is there anything we haven't touched on?
The social media budget is a really important tool and should be increased every year. And so, if you have a full time social media manager managing that budget, and as it grows every year, and as digital gets more and more important and print is less and less, the social media budget and having somebody manage that and knowing what they're doing is really important to give them the tools. I attend Social Media Marketing World every year to make sure that I'm on the forefront of all the social media tools, all the video, all of the advertising. Because when we're dealing with the hotel tax, which is what we're funded by, that's important dollars that we want to spend wisely, and making sure that our advertising budgets are used wisely and to attract the right audiences. I think you really need to have a skilled person in advertising, marketing, and PR to do social media. Social media is just not about tools and cool photos and it's Tuesday, hey, it's time to post something. There's a solid strategy with that, and I think giving them the tools and the expertise and finding that well-rounded person is important.
Yeah, so if you're investing in having a social media manager, invest in the education to continue to improve and develop that social media manager, right?
Exactly. And Social Media Marketing World also has a virtual ticket. So even if you can't go in person, you can do the virtual ticket, which is what I did to learn social media marketing before I even was a social media manager. So I've been, I can't tout that conference enough.
Well, Stephanie, would you be willing to post the link to Social Media Marketing World in the Destination Marketers LinkedIn group so that our listeners can grab that?
Oh, sure. That'd be great.
Let's do that. We'll do that as a follow-up if you're cool with that.
Yes.
Well, Stephanie, thank you so much. You shared a lot with us, and I personally have learned a lot just having you on talking about some of the tips and tricks that you do in managing social media for Plano, Texas. So thank you so much for coming on.
Oh, thank you. This has been great, Adam, and I'm looking forward to listening to lots more of your podcasts.
Well, thank you so much. And I told you I was going to out you, right? If some of you feel like maybe we talk a little slow on the podcast, or if it's moving a little slow, Stephanie taught me a trick, and I thought it was great. Listen to us on 1.5 speed. You'll move through that much quicker. That way she can finish a whole episode on the way to the office, right?
Exactly, because my commute's exactly 35 minutes. So, yeah. But don't listen to me on 1.5 speed. I think that would probably be irritating.
Oh, that's right. Put Stephanie deserves the natural speed for this episode, right?
Exactly.
All right. A reminder for everybody that we also have the new email where you guys can submit questions, topic suggestions. You can tell me if you would like to be a guest on the podcast. You can do all of that at destinationmarketingpodcast@relicagency.com. The other thing to remind everybody is we have a LinkedIn group where Stephanie is actually going to go post the link to this conference that she's talking about, the Social Media Marketing World Conference. And that's a group that is a whole bunch of destination marketers, and we're getting more every day. I actually, during the show today, approved another person from Illinois to join the Destination Marketing or Destination Marketers group on LinkedIn. And it's growing and people are posting content. We actually just had Jess Darrington, a previous guest on the podcast, post post her presentation that she had given at the Utah Tourism Conference. And that's just valuable content that everybody can kind of grab and use. And we want to grow and learn together. And then the last thing is, hey, if you're enjoying the podcast, do what Stephanie did. Leave us a review, and we would really appreciate that. And who knows, we'll have you as a guest on the podcast too. So thanks everybody for listening, and we'll talk soon.